Hi, my name is Charlie Finley. I'm with my dad right now in the car, and I decided to interview him and ask him a few questions about 9/11. So, Dad, what were you doing on September 11th, 2001?
On September 11th, 2000, was it 2001 already? Wow. I was in court, and right after I was leaving court, I'm in the car and I got a phone call from my brother saying, you realize that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center. And at that time, I thought it was just another small airplane crash that happens once in a while. Like, you know, once in a while you hear on the news a car that maybe is driven into a store. I thought maybe a small airplane had crashed. I had no idea the enormity of the situation.
And then, what about when the second plane crashed?
Well, I was actually in depositions, and I'd come back to the office, and maybe by the time I get back to the office, the second plane had already crashed, but we still didn't know really what was going on. But I remember being in deposition. I even remember the case, which is depositions where, like, you ask people questions under oath as a lawyer, and we were just baffled. We had absolutely no idea what was going on, and you know, life just seemed to go on with this big mystery while I was working. And every time we took a break during the deposition, I'd go back to the television to try to catch up and to figure out what was going on.
When did you figure out what was actually going on?
I don't think any of us figured out that it was terrorism for a little bit of time. I think maybe later on that evening. You know, the first plane flew into the World Trade Center, and then a short time afterwards, the second plane. And then we realized, you know, on the news when you're watching it, that there may be one plane headed for the White House, that a plane headed for the Pentagon, and it was just crazy. You knew probably by the end of that day that something bad had happened, and it was a form of war, that someone had declared war on us, and it was something in my lifetime. You know, when I was born, the Vietnam War had just really was winding down, and when like the small conflicts in Panama and Grenada, those are just conflicts that took place where, you know, it was America going in and freeing a place, but it wasn't really like a war. This felt like we're being attacked, and wow, it was scary.
Were you ever scared that something was going to attack you?
I don't think personally I was scared that somebody or someone was going to attack me. It was more of trying to figure out what's going on and to understand. When you know, when something like that's going on, you just want to have an understanding of what is it and why. And I think that was something that really didn't occur for some time afterwards, where we figured out, well, this really is an act of terrorism, and it's Islamic terrorists, but we didn't really know like the difference between Sunni and Shiite Muslims at that time. It was just something that was maybe for the academia. You know, I remember reading articles about the different types of Muslims. I didn't know they were different. You know, Shini and Sunni and different sects of Muslims. So I was just trying to figure it out, trying to learn.
When you first heard of it, did you think the plane was hijacked?
I really didn't know. I mean, you know, I guess that, you know, looking back on it, it couldn't have been anything else. I don't think a pilot would intentionally do it, but, you know, the whole idea of box cutters and that is something that didn't take place.
Prepare to turn left.
And I couldn't really understand until sometime afterwards.
Did you ever think, well, maybe the pilot was drunk or something?
No, that's nothing like that ever came to my mind. Like it was an accident. I think that we knew that it was on purpose after the second plane flew into the World Trade Center, and certainly by the time the Pentagon was hit, we knew it was a coordinated attack. Excuse me.
Feet, turn left onto Andersonville Road.
What about, when did you hear about the third plane that crashed in a field in Pennsylvania?
I think that was the fourth plane, actually, that
Fourth
crashed in, and that it had to be later on that night. I'm not really certain.